Hi there. This is Preacher Dave, and here's my confession. I've been a preacher for a long time. I went into preaching in none of your business. I preached a lot of lessons, a lot of classes, a lot of sermons about evangelism. I used every method I could to get people to get out there and go make disciples of your neighbors and your friends that you knew at work and at home. We had Neighbor Day where you invite your neighbor to church. And I made sure as the preacher, I went and tried to talk to both those neighbors that came those days. You don't get me wrong, I did teach people and baptize people, led people to Christ, quite a few, but I never really taught anybody else how to make disciples like Jesus did because I really didn't know how. Now, being a good professionally trained minister of the church, I thought it was my job to preach at church to church people. But I found out that's not my job at all. That's not what Jesus called us to do. I wasn't out there making and maturing disciples. I wasn't equipping other people to do it. I didn't teach them because I didn't know how. I am so grateful that someone finally showed Teresa and I how Jesus made and matured his disciples. A band of a few dozen men and women that Jesus discipled literally changed the course of history. They went about in their everyday life. They followed Jesus' simple method where they lived, where they worked, where they played, and the church grew. In fact, not just grew, it multiplied over and over. So how did it do it? What was Jesus' method? I'm glad I asked. It was simple. So simple, in fact, I'd missed it for years. Jesus used relationships to change the lives of his disciples. Follow me wasn't just a bumper sticker they stuck on the back of their camels on their way to church. It was Jesus' plan. He shared not just his teaching, he shared his life with these people. He spent time with them. He built relationships with them and changed the world. His method was so simple and so effective. And here's the best part, it's reproducible right where you are today. In your town, big or small or even rural. In your church, whether it's a large church or a small church or a tiny church, maybe even a shrinking church, with or without a preacher, this method works in your life, whether you are young or you are formerly young. You don't need a preacher for this to work. You don't need a fancy program. In fact, since it's Jesus' own method and mission, you don't even need permission to do it. This is his plan. All you need to do is follow Jesus' relationship-based method to fulfill his mission for every follower of his church, every follower of Jesus. Teresa and I have developed and we teach a seminar where we share what we've used and what we've learned with life-changing results. In this seminar, some of the things that we teach is how to improve your relationship with God, with other fellow disciples of Jesus, and with the lost. We teach how to make and mature disciples through Jesus' relationship-based method. We talk about how to introduce Jesus stuff into normal conversation and relationships without becoming that awkward Christian guy. We talk about how to make disciples who make disciples. If you'd like more information about this seminar with no obligation, send me your contact information. Send me your question. Post your questions down in the comments. We'll try to answer as many as we can. Reach out to me. If you already know my contact information, get a hold of me. If you want me to contact you, send me your contact information at dherlocker@gmail.com. We would love to share this seminar with you and with your church in your location. We would love for you to join us and have the joy of making disciples who make disciples who make disciples. Who knows? We may still change the course of human history yet. I'm glad we're on this adventure together.